So here we are going to be taking on the role of Rotten Tomatoes critics, and we are starting a series where we are going to take a look at films that got a 0% on the platform, and we're going to see if we can be the first reviewers, people who have watched the film, to give it a positive review.
Mm-hmm.
No one likes these movies, to make it simple. So we're going to see if we are going to find one. We're the outliers. It called to us, this garbage movie. This movie people think is garbage. Maybe there's hidden gold within these 0%. And we're on a quest to find that.
Yeah. And this is the quest for 1%.
Yes.
And the first movie on the docket is Nutcracker 3D. Is that what it's called?
That is the first talking point. We were confused on the title. So this is the movie we watched was Nutcracker. What was it?
The Untold Story.
So that's awesome. That's awesome that you thought that.
So to give context, me and Preston lived together. We watched this together late last night.
Yep.
And John was not with us. You watched it by yourself? What was your watching situation?
Yeah, what was your experience?
My watching situation was me saying, my girlfriend or fiance said, I'm going to go to bed. I went like this and reclined in my chair.
So you had hand up the whole hour and 48 minutes?
Yep. And actually, to be honest with you, I stopped it when I started falling asleep. I woke up this morning and watched the second half again. So if you can't call me that I'm a tryhard, I stood there and watched it.
Commitment.
So it starts off with this random shot of the ice rink in a central village, right? And then there's an orchestra truck that goes by, and we're introduced to this character who is later named Uncle Albert.
In the 1920s, practically.
Sure, 1920s. We get to the house. We're introduced to the family. All right, family's there, and then Uncle Albert comes in, and he starts kind of talking in his accent. I think I wrote down 10 minutes in. I'm like, this accent is so bad.
I asked you to be here at 5.
I don't carry a watch. It inspires conformity.
And we get into the first song called "Everything Is Relative."
Yes, so me and Preston, we kind of were slowly piecing together, like, wait, he looks like Albert Einstein. He's kind of doing an accent.
They call him Uncle Albert.
And then we're like, oh yeah, it's probably. And then they abandon all subtlety. They hit you with every Albert Einstein thing that you might know relatively.
They're writing
the
EMC
equation
square on the chalkboard. They got the abacus going.
But they still never call him Einstein.
Which I'm pretty sure is still lyrics from Tchaikovsky's ballet. I'm pretty sure they put lyrics to...
Yes. So they're playing the Tchaikovsky's songs, and they made their own lyrics to go along with it.
Like, I was like, what?
What makes
Relative.
us what
Relative.
we are? That's love.
Like, I was like, what?
Yeah, so they're making lyrics to orchestral songs, and they're making covers of orchestral songs, and they're pretty bad and unneeded, might I say.
To back up just a little bit, I think what was amazing about the introduction of who goes on to be, is always Albert Einstein.
Yes.
Is he's talking directly to the camera, which is jarring. He does this later in the movie. He has 2 different fourth wall breaks.
Yes.
He's the only character to do this.
You know, I have the strangest feelings that we are being followed. I'd better check. We are not being followed.
I don't know. They're just like, they're making random creative decisions out of a hat.
I also thought it was funny that he was supposed to be like the voice to the audience, trying to explain things that were happening so that they could make some sort of sense of what the fuck they were actually putting on screen. But also his fourth wall breaks were like jokey, and they didn't actually do anything to advance my knowledge of what was happening.
It was like if the Bible started in the beginning, and that's all that was wrote, and then he came for a next scene in the beginning, and they'd come for the next row.
Sure, that's exactly.
Well, it was actually, it was just.
I wrote
like,
that in my notes. I said in the beginning. It's like in the beginning.
Yeah, there's not. He's telling you nothing. He's just saying, "Hey, I'm gonna give you something. Live with it," and then that's what it is.
All right, so anyway, so Albert, he comes in. There's 2 young children. One who's played by Ellie Fanning. I got is that right?
Elle Fanning.
Elle Fanning.
Yep.
I was confused in all of my notes because I didn't know the main character's name the whole time. I called her Dakota Fanning, which is her sister. So
I also didn't know her name. I thought her name was Maxie or... No, the brother's name is Max. So the brother's name is Max.
Do you know the main character's name?
I literally don't think we learned the name character's name.
Her name was never said. It was never said.
Please don't tell me married.
I bet it was, but I feel like it was said like this.
It was kind of like
is that how you feel about this?
Do you really have to, Mother?
We already went over this, Mary.
it was like a Christopher Nolan thing.
Yeah,
Kind of
really.
just the protagonist. It was something like
really.
kind of highbrow. Like you're right, they probably didn't have a name.
Her name was correct.
So Uncle Albert's in the movie. He introduces this nutcracker.
Yeah, he has a
who is-
dollhouse.
Who is
he
now
brings-
known as NC.
We don't know that yet.
Well,
That's when he comes to life.
I call him NC for short.
okay, he comes
Spoiler,
to life.
Nutcracker comes to life.
Yeah, he comes to life in her bedroom. She takes it to bed. And mind you, I noted that they went to bed, and then she got out of her bed to go get the nutcracker, and she was in a completely different costume. I was like, her hair is curled, and she is now coming out of bed
In a dreamlike state.
in a dreamlike state to get this nutcracker.
I can't believe it. You did it. What do you mean?
And I thought it was interesting how the Nutcracker doesn't come off to me, or probably anyone, in any sort of friendly manner. It seems very off-putting
Yes.
and rude and weird.
So, what's the plan?
Oh, it needn't concern you. Girls are no good at military strategy.
But yet our main character, from the get-go, is fully trusted in acceptance. Not only of just him as a Nutcracker, just everything that's happening. There's no like, what is this?
Yes.
It's just like, this is
Just like
happening.
this is Christmas magic, and this is real, and this is awesome.
Yeah, I guess.
We'll have to show you an image of him. There are
plenty of images of NC. Our buddy NC.
We'll have to show you that, but he seemed like a more of like, I'm scared, I should run away, like a haunted house type of thing. Then instead of just is like, I should trust you.
I think off-putting is a good word. Like he
Yes.
isn't like, hey, we're best friends now. It's like, we gotta save this. It's like, he just comes in and immediately we're kicking off and we're trying to fight the Rat King.
Yeah. Well, I wrote down to maybe illustrate one of the quotes about still early on in the movie where it feels like he's kidnapping her.
Yes. Yes.
And then there's like a lull of silence and like the sleigh, and then he looks at her, and the line delivery too is great. And he's like, "You look so pretty."
Mary, you're very pretty. Why, thank you.
God, as the vision of the scene opens up, and it just is like he's staring from behind her, and just is like glazed eyes and everything else, as much as a wooden like puppet could practically be.
And then so she gets taken back into the family room where the tree is in real life, but now it's all huge.
I've never seen anything so big.
Magical things are happening.
Yep.
And I wrote down this note. It's about 30 minutes into the movie, and I still don't know why it's happening or what is going
are there
on. But then I
rats?
hear words of a Rat King.
And so we're introduced to this ensemble of cast in this dollhouse that Uncle Albert has brought, and they're coming to life, and there's whimsical magic, and
So much poussière, dust.
basically one of them is a Rastafarian type of Jamaican, yeah man, and they play the drum, and that's their whole character.
That is Styx.
That is Styx.
Preston is talking about the character Styx.
Yes, that's Styx. I think is the monkey named Gilgard.
Gilgard?
Your Highness, I have no excuse for my terrible behavior.
So
So we met the cast,
yep.
and now we're introduced to the Rat King.
Yep, and his goons, his minions.
Yeah.
They're spying, and so we are revealed that the Nutcracker, who's still just an animated, terrifying CGI doll,
Yep.
he's actually a real boy. And
Yes.
for some reason, the girl can break through the spell that's been put on him, and he becomes a real boy temporarily.
Because he senses love. That's
Yes.
what we're supposed to feel.
I did not feel a lot of love.
No, but that's why he turned into a real boy.
You really are an ungrateful person.
How ungrateful men can be.
So he became a real boy. The Rat Goons see that. They report back, and this is where we're introduced to I thought was the best part of the movie, and maybe we'd all agree.
Yeah. But also might I add that these Rat Goons were wearing, like, what is that guy from Avengers? The Falcon?
Yeah.
They're wearing Falcon suits. All right,
Yeah.
they have full-on wings. They're bionic. They are...
Steampunk. Almost
Yeah,
in a
it's
way.
very steampunk. It's like, all right, so we're in 1920s, but now we're in the future.
I thought that was a very interesting direction this movie takes, where it's not like a whimsical like Christmas land town, and it's this
metal.
weird gritty metal dystopian.
Very brutalist,
Yeah.
dystopian. We basically, they go up onto this stairway into heaven, and they look out onto the universe, and there's a black cloud, and they call that Rat Kingdom. But they're also in Cloudland, but it's also Rat Kingdom, and they go, why is it black? And he goes, because he's burning children's toys. The Rat King.
And why did the dark smoke protected them from the sun or something?
Yes, the Rat King doesn't like the sun.
Okay.
Doesn't like the sun, and so we need to burn the children's toys from the chimneys so we can protect ourselves from the sun.
Gotcha.
And so now we're in Rat Kingdom. And Eric, why don't you introduce us to the? I would agree that is probably the best scene of the movie.
So I mean, they do a great job introducing him as an adversary, as a threat, as our grand villain, played by I'm gonna need Patrick to back me up. Is his name John Turturro? What's his name? What's the actor's name who plays him?
Yeah, I think you got it.
Okay,
John Turturro.
His name is John Turturro. Turturro. Yeah, it's played by John from Transformers. And I was wondering if this was the lowest or the highest point of his career.
Bumblebee, stop lubricating the man.
I don't know where we are in it. I'm not sure when this movie came out. Obviously a while ago.
I don't think he was ever given more. Just, hey, go
he had
do
the reins.
whatever you
He had the
want.
reins. He hammed up. And then I wrote in here that at around, well, this doesn't matter, the time frame, but I did write down the time of it. That there is a Dark Knight pencil scene-esque recreation where he slams one of his subordinates, I think, head straight into a nut and cracks it.
I also couldn't decipher whether his character was supposed to be a spoof on Austin Powers. I was like, okay, this guy is kind of acting very flamboyantly, and
I think he was a spoof on World War II dictator.
Oh, okay.
Yep. 100%.
There was a certain someone.
Okay.
In that opening scene, maybe it was around that opening scene, camera angle pans over. You see a shark in a tank.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I also wrote about the shark.
That was nuts.
It's just like, oh, shark in a tank, and then he just goes nuts on
and he kills the shark.
Yeah, and he just goes nuts. Like,
but then for the rest of the scene, the shark is floating there, just still. It's a still like JPEG of a shark just in the tank after it's supposedly dead. Also, before he killed the shark, he sang a jazz tune, might I add, with a big band, and he's doing a chorus line.
Yeah. And he's dancing, of course. Like,
he's dancing. He's singing about being the Rat King, and it's a jazz tune, and it was awesome.
Yeah. Mind you, I feel like if nothing is noted that these actors in this movie, if they're referred to rat, their nose and everything else is different.
Oh, yeah.
Like their facial features are strictly like.
Imagine, they look like a Who, basically.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's supposed to be like a rat.
Yeah.
I also questioned the Rat King's motives. I was like, okay, are we looking for world domination? Are we trying to dominate the Cloud Nation? I'm like, what are we trying to do here?
He got off on children's
on fucking
sadness.
on children.
He went around, he took photos of kids at moments as he was taking and burning their toys.
Which he later states that the toys were actually living beings.
Oh yeah, that's something else I have a confusion about that we'll get to. But I thought it was funny if I'm looking at my notes here at 50 minutes in. This isn't a note about the movie. It was just about me. I just put I'm horizontal now. This was late at night, and maybe it's sort of telling about the movie, but about the 50-minute mark, I was losing it.
We can show what was happening at 50
And at the 50-minute mark, I wrote down Einstein is a genie confirmed.
The strangest feeling that something is wrong at Mary's house.
So that's also my next note where I said, I took down some great quotes that I thought were good, and I wrote, reality is an illusion, which I think is something that
they play on a lot.
Albert Einstein was telling to the kids.
Was that during the same scene where he was like, Albert Einstein was singing, but then the camera was just panned on the dad, so you never, Albert Einstein was still singing, but the camera was just focused on the parents?
And they're singing about pebbles, and I wrote down pebbles for what reason?
Jesus.
Apparently the dad had a pebble as a kid that was like, fake or it was real, but it was supposed to be some imaginary pebble where basically it is just a rock, but I think it's supposed to be, it can be anything. This is just a pebble, but it could be anything. That's what I kind of got from that. I hope that's real. Is that the sense that everyone else got from the pebble
That's
song?
what I got. I just didn't.
I thought maybe it was a reference to the original thing, as someone who didn't know what the original thing was.
There's no pebble song.
Mm-hmm. There's no Albert Einstein.
The parents never come back in the original ballet.
Oh,
It's all about
the girl's story.
Mary?
We'll find out. We'll find out her name, and you will too soon enough.
So now we cut from the pebbles back to the kingdom, where they're trying to convince Max, the brother, that not everything, you might want to join the rat side. You know, hey, everything's whimsical, but you could be a rat.
I feel like I tuned out for 30 seconds and then he was convinced and was with the Rat King.
Yeah, I wrote, what the fuck is happening? We're kidnapped now.
In the span of things, it was very quick too, though. It had nothing to do with it. It's just like if you blinked an eye, it was already away.
So basically, NC, the Nutcracker, gets kidnapped, and then it pulls up
that's an amazing
onto like a set of a stage.
And the Rat King looks like Andy Warhol.
Yes.
I wrote that down.
And NC is in a stretcher, tied up, and
there's frightening things in this
and
video.
they cut off Styx's head.
Oh yeah, and
they
just pulls it off, right?
Yeah. And so now we have a headless drummer boy. But then he puts his head back on. He's toying with him. He puts his head back on.
That's the first time that he goes to terrifying CGI rap modes, right?
Yeah.
So Nate, you'll love looking for terrifying CGI rap mode, because this is the first time that it happens. Where yes, he has the nose, but then he gets really angry, and he then his mouth opens and his like jaw comes out, and his teeth are like. It's crazy.
It's screen Terry. It literally is screen Terry all the way up.
You can't do it justice unless it's on the screen.
Yeah.
Also, might I add that so he says, Max, let's go to Rat World, and also we're on motorcycles now with machine guns. Just because. Just because.
Enjoy the bonfire! Watch the sky for your smoke!
The thing that I thought about when entering the scene, probably halfway in the movie, right where you're talking about, is where it's majority of the time spent is in the rat world. And so then you're sitting there, I'm like, is this a World War II history lesson?
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Is this like, am I watching a recreation right now?
I think
I'm waiting for the guy
note.
in Schindler's List to pull up his suspenders and just sit there with his, Lee Enfield, just boom.
Yeah, they're burning
and honestly,
toys.
I wouldn't have counted that out. If that happened in this movie, I would have said, all right, that's par for the course, and that's fine.
Right, and that's the point, though. They curated all this to be World War II.
Yeah.
Nazi Germany.
So this is where I had a big question with the logic of the film that I think John was maybe mentioning before. So they're taken in the Rat King world, or the world that the Rat King has made his for now.
Sure.
We'll say. He was rounded up all the toys and it's in piles and they're burning them. And I was just wondering, like, toys are real, toys are people, but these toys are still toys
that these kids have.
So is it layers where toy in the real world, the toys, when you go one level deeper into whatever fantasy world the main character went in, those toys are real people now. But then in that level reality plane,
real.
Those toys are just toys. But then there's another level where the toys that were like burning, those are all also
and I think
real.
And I think that whole monologue, what you just said, encapsulates this movie and is why this movie has probably got 0%. Also, Nate, I'm gonna need you to add him jumping off his balcony and onto the toys, because that jump
when you
is
find
insane.
out he has superhuman abilities out of nowhere.
Yes.
You need to add it.
It is like they just took his character model and then just went
dropped it
and then just sent him across the screen. So might I add to the Uncle Albert being a genie, right? So let's wind up a little bit. So Max is in the rat world. The sister goes and follows him.
Yeah.
And Uncle Albert is just sitting on a bench reading a paper, and he goes, "Oh, I think that something's happening over there. Go check that out." But he doesn't also join them. He just.
Well, this isn't the Albert we know. This is
right
in the world.
This
of
is
Rat King
World,
because everyone has a fake and a real counterpart, or most characters
right.
do.
I said that there was a Stranger Things reference also. That was the Stranger Things reference.
Yep.
Which Jeremy commented on the mom somehow doing a costume change and being the all glorious.
Well, that's her. There's real mom, and then there's Rat World mom, and Rat World mom is an ethereal angel character.
Yep.
Right?
And Nanny is Rat World Rat King mom.
Who's sucking on green juice.
And I wrote down Rat Mom wants to fuck Rat Son.
I also said what is the tension between Rat King and Rat Mom? And I thought there was many moments with that and other parts of the film where the shots just held for a weird amount of time before they cut.
Love can be very dangerous.
There is a shot of Elle Fanning where she's kind of in this rat jail. They kind of threw her in rat jail, and she is just there, not even sobbing. There's nothing happening. She's just kind of there in a scared face like this.
literally
and it probably holds for 5 to 6 seconds.
Mind you, this whole movie is in 3D. It was premiered in 3D. Yeah. So there's many things of effects where I wonder, was it coming out of the screen tear of his mouth, jaw opening, everything else? I'll get to that later. But it's like all this is in 3D.
Yeah, we watched this in standard def. I would love to see it in its original form.
Barely even 720.
So who are we to judge watching it not in the way it was intended by the director?
Nah.
So anyway, just what's happening at the last act of the film. The Nutcracker was taken NC, not in real boy mode. The spell was strengthened at one point with the green juice. And then our main character girl, who doesn't have a name, she rides with the other crew from the dollhouse, and they're going to try to save her brother and save the doll or whatever. And it's like Toy Story 3, where all these toys are just going into an incinerator.
And NC is disembodied at this point.
Yeah.
He is missing a leg. And girl is trying to run up this conveyor belt to save him. He's missing a leg.
Oh, I missed that.
Yep. And I wrote down, is he actually dead? She's going to have to kiss the soul back into him. Because the whole time I was like, I am hoping that at the end they have to like be in love or something like that for him to become a real boy.
Yeah. I don't even think we mentioned that he is very significant because he's the prince of this
right. He's the prince
world.
of Cloud Kingdom.
He's the prince of Cloud Kingdom who was exiled and spelled like Emperor's New Groove.
Yes, very much
and
so.
When the sight of him, they see him back in real boy mode after she expels her love onto him, the main character that is. And then that sparks a work camp revolt.
He's alive!
And then they take on
ghettos, I'm telling you.
He's telling me that.
She does confess her love for NC.
She does love NC for some reason.
She loves NC after one night. She loves him.
So yeah, then they're in a helicopter and
there's allusion to Man vs. Apes, the original movies, or what's that called?
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes. There's an allusion to that with the whole thing of. There was the whole thing where he's at the clock. Maybe it's not even a clock, and he says a really great thing. He's like, if the answer's not there, then it's at hand or something like that. And then seemed like Planet, yeah,
I got you.
And then I just was wondering so they're foiled. There was this little revolt, and I was just wondering what happened to the big huge army that they had.
Yep.
It just seemed like it took 7 people in one mind. It just felt, I guess we don't want to do this anymore. And that's all it took.
Yeah.
If they didn't just need the motivation of seeing a little boy's face, they probably could have got out of the control of the Rat King a long time ago.
One of the biggest things of this movie is that unions work. Unions are real, and they work, and they're helpful, and they're awesome.
And they're
I think that's the biggest lesson from this movie.
Yep. Many scenes of like all the whole entire army was literally, I think, images of one person breaking through something so there could be debris falling through the screen so you could be in the movie theater.
I was imagining John in his armchair, he's holding the phone like this.
Yeah, literally.
So might I add that while they're in the mines, the ensemble cast comes back out.
Yeah,
Stinky the clown, Sticks the fucker, and Gilgard the monkey.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, I keep forgetting that these characters are like supposed to be a part of the story.
I don't even know if I don't know if there were such things as characters in this movie.
Yeah, they were an ensemble. I wrote down an ensemble.
Was Stinky though not? I wrote this down as like a main point. How scary he was. Like imagining as a 10-year-old, and you're seeing the Stinky's just standing there like this, looking like, what's the horror movie with him?
Stinky looked like Pennywise.
Yes, thank you. He just was sitting there chilling and just staring. I was like,
gotcha.
Okay, so let's get to the helicopter.
I feel like, what else is there to say about the helicopter?
I don't know.
It had legs. It was weird.
Take me with you. Come on, take me with you.
Helicopter had legs, and they thought that they got NC, but they really didn't, because somehow Max was able to turn his pride around and shut down the helicopter somehow.
Yeah.
He thought he knew how to fly, but
there's
then
a brawl in the cockpit, and the Rat Kings, they realize they've lost, and then the mom rat's like, all right, let's do what rats do best.
Do what rats do.
Back to rat mode, and then they escape. They avoid punishment, basically. there's no consequences.
And there's a Harry Potter reference.
I said, are they sequel baiting? Are they gonna come back? They go down into the sewer.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they claim the city back, and the sun comes back out, and then the best, how every best movie ends. The main character wakes up from a dream. None of it was real.
Yep. So I mean, and that's credit to them, because that's actually how the ballet happens. You know, she just learns the Christmas spirit in this dream, and she wakes up. The Nutcracker's not real, but it's underneath her tree, and she appreciates Christmas more, and she likes her family. So,
but also it's funny because
even though it sucks.
Yeah, I feel like her brother. I don't understand how the brother wasn't real within it too. I don't know. I feel like she brought him in, but because he learned a lesson, I thought, about breaking toys. But then if none of that was really real, then he never actually learned that lesson about breaking other people's stuff, and he's going to keep doing it.
So my fifth to last comment is Max is still a whiny bitch.
Yeah.
He didn't learn anything.
No. He had no arc. I give Max an arc, please.
Yeah, thank you.
And that leads us to the perfect thing of our 2 sentences or slight caption.
So let's give our rotten review.
This is a quest for 1%, so we are going to list our end reviews here and see if any of us gave it a positive score, which would then bump the overall percentage Rotten Tomatoes of the movie from 0 to 1.
All right, Eric, let's hear your review first.
Sure.
I think it'd be fun to say what your blurb would be, and then kind of just give us a 5-second reasoning of why you thought that. You know what I mean?
We'll see what you get. We'll see what you get.
All right, I'm just a meme.
I wrote, there is nothing merry about Nutcracker 3D, proving there is a right and a rat way to make a Christmas movie.
Okay.
And that is a rotten review of the movie.
You want to go next, John?
Yep. Let me grab it. Oh, guys. Let me find it. I have it written in my notes. All right, so this is my caption. This movie can grasp history with Fantasia. Why not recreate a story that can charm you and scare you at the same time? I'm giving it a positive review.
Oh my God, right? The first one off the bat, John gives it a positive review.
John, you're never going to be on this segment again.
The quest is over.
I have a reason.
All right, you can get into that.
All right. My rotten review goes like this. This movie was, in one word, unnecessary. From the irrelevant forced ensemble cast, the uncanny lines, to the random added songs such as Ratification and One Special Pebble. It seemed like nobody said no to any idea presented in the writer's room. And that's a rotten review.
All right. You're on your own here with that positive review, John. Defend this movie just a little bit, and then we'll end with that.
I'll give you a quick defending of it. I think that for all the creative ideas of how bad it was, it made it good in a way of understanding what is this alluding to.
Oh.
So then, if I'm sitting there, say that I'm a 5-year-old watching this movie in 2010, I don't know anything about World War II. I don't know what they did.
Right.
And all of it could just be whatever. But if I'm sitting there watching as a 15-year-old watching this movie, I'm like, I just watched Schindler's List. I just saw my first horror movie, which is Schindler's List. And you know, you're thinking about all this other stuff that could possibly scare you at night. But the I'm going to say randomosity, which is not even a word.
Yeah.
Randomosity of all this whole movie actually made it to be kind of, at least it should be 1% because it's so abstract.
Okay. John's loving the ideas here.
He's like in historical context, educational value.
I think it was just fun. I think it was fun to be like, how bad this is. It's comical. That's why I'm going to put it that way, where it was not the intention of the movie.
All right, everybody. So say goodbye to John. He won't be returning to the Looney Show. And with that,
we told him everything was supposed to be rotten.
Yeah. We thank you for watching the first episode of the Looney Show. Follow us on all our socials, and Looney out.
Looney out.